A few years ago, I tried bullet journaling, as maybe most of us do, by buying fancy notebooks and pretty pens and cool sticker tape, and failed miserably because my spreads never looked good, I could never read them again, and I could never find anything again. After that, I found Notion, and I fell down that rabbit hole and tracked all the things. I mean, all the things. But I found myself with the same problem, but for different reasons. I had illegible data, essentially, but it was because there was so much of it. I had so much data, and I didn't know what to do with it, and I didn't know why I was tracking all of it. Then last year, I actually read the original book, The Bullet Journal Method, and it was transformative. I really appreciate writer Carol's emphasis on mindfulness, attentiveness, and slowing down long enough to figure out what actually matters. So over the last year, I've scaled way back on my Notion tracking, and I've slowly developed physical spreads in a physical notebook for daily and weekly journaling. So today we're talking about collecting our daily and our weekly journals. So if that sounds good to you, come on in. If this is your first visit, welcome. I'm Megan, and I am fascinated by how we make sense of what we know and do so that we can cultivate a life that matters. That's why this channel is a space for us to experiment and apply various tools and techniques that help us take one meaningful action to connect with who we want to be. If that sounds good to you, come on in. And if you like this video, please like and subscribe so you can see more videos like this every month. So why talk about collecting and not reflecting? What's the difference? We are reflecting in a way when we journal, write down our day, but to do that effectively, really, we also need to collect or capture things for reflection. We want to separate collecting and reflecting so that we can approach them from different perspectives. See, when we collect, we are creating a clear channel for documenting and finding what we need later. We're focused on building a container for the substance of the things that we want to reflect on. When we reflect, we want to review, and we want to take a look at that substance so that we can evaluate our progress, consider what we've learned or what we might want to change, and figure out where we want to go next. Collecting effectively gives us a consistent form or a shape for the substance. It gives our eyes and our minds familiar paths to scan, and it helps us find related items and make those connections a little more quickly and a little more easily too. CEDAR is a framework I've developed that helps us collect what resonates, explore its significance, discern what matters, act with purpose, and reflect on what we've learned. We can use CEDAR to define the function of our digital tools, make an important decision, organize a research project, or identify where we are in a process or a situation. Whether we make a new commitment, pursue a goal, or just review our day, we always need to collect, explore, discern, act, and reflect. That's why I find that these simple prompts for daily and weekly journals are a great technique to use in the collect stage of CEDAR. As with anything in the BuJo method, you can set this up in a way that makes sense to you. I'm going to show you how I do it, and I'll also leave a link to a PDF template in the description box below so you can try it out for yourself. If you've been struggling to find a consistent container for your journals, give this a try. As always, take what works and leave what doesn't. As part of my weekly reflection on Friday evenings, I set up my spreads for the following week. That way, I can just show up each day, put my actions at the top, and collect any notes or observations in the middle throughout the day. I can also remember my workout for the day and practice an evening reflection. Every evening, I capture 4 thoughts that come to mind about my day. Something happy or good, something I'm grateful for, something sad or draining, and something that evoked frustration or anger. Then, at the end of each week, I capture 8 highlights of my week. Positive events or observations, negative events or observations. Things that are just there, worth noting, but I'm neutral on. I also list my gratitudes, accomplishments that I'm really proud of, and something that I learned from the week. The last 2 categories, I'd look to the week ahead. I set 2 to 3 priorities for the coming week, and I list something that I'm just really looking forward to. This isn't long-form journaling or brain dumping. There's a time and a place for that. The goal with each of these is simply to capture what rises to the top, to record what stands out the most when prompted to turn attention to them. Now, I do also have a Notion database where I enter my summaries for the week, and that's so that I can easily read and review multiple weeks at a later time. But I always collect my daily and weekly journals by hand. Because, as writer Carol points out, the act of writing by hand draws our mind into the present moment on a neurological level unlike any other capturing mechanism. Collecting my thoughts this way helps me slow down, decide if this thought, this note, is really worth using my muscles to move the pen and the ink in my pen on the precious little space that I have in my journal. And that lets me decide if this is something that I want to revisit in the future and make further meaning out of it sometime. This practice forces me to focus my attention on the things that make up my life. Because life isn't somewhere down the road. Life is right here, this day, these moments. And by following a consistent template for collecting days and weeks like this, we get to see our lives over time. And that is one meaningful action that we can take to connect with who we want to be. I so hope that this idea is helpful for you. If you use it, drop a comment below and let me know how it works for you. If you'd like to learn more about Cedar, click the link in the description below and you can grab that email course. And if you'd like to learn more about the process and experience of uncovering our true selves, tapping into our imaginations, and doing what matters most, you should check out my twice monthly newsletter. You can subscribe to that below. Until next time, Shalom.